Good afternoon. During this presentation, we're going to talk about Consorcia Ara and the different valuation methods we use to obtain the target price. First of all, we're going to talk about a little bit of the business overview. Consorcia Ara is a really huge enterprise in the Mexican market, and it belongs to the home builder sector. Consorcia Ara was founded in 1977 and went public in 1996. Nowadays, Consorcia Ara is on 16 states, 18 cities, 33 municipalities, and has 47 buildings. Consorcia Ara has 3 different product lines. The first one is affordable entry level, the second one middle income, and the third one residential. Nowadays, Consorcia Ara has a rate by Standard & Poor's Global of MXA+. Also, Consorcia Ara has more than 350,000 homes that are residents of more than 1.4 million Mexicans. Now, our recommendation for Consorcia Ara's share is a hold due to the high numbers in working capital, the high rates of mortgages, the political uncertainty in countries' home builders, and the low free cash flow to firm to equity. The current price nowadays is 5.56 pesos, and the target price that we got was 6.09 pesos, due to the weighted average that we use between the free cash flow to the firm and the free cash flow to equity.
Okay, now we're talking about competitive flow. Consorcia Ara has 3 major competitors that are SER, Homex, and Casas Hero. Consorcia Ara buys their free mixer. That means that they can lower their prices because they do their own concrete. Then they have 20 plants, and so they also lower their prices because they own their own production. They have a large transportation team, and also they lower the cost by transporting by their own team and no hire third parties. By nowadays, Consorcia Ara is the 5th largest concrete producer. Now, in the macroeconomic outlook, here in Mexico, we're evolving from agricultural economy to an urban consumption market. This means that Mexico will be an urban country, and here we can see that in 2000 the urban population was lower and the rural was higher in comparison with 2030. One of the largest housing development, Mexico is one of the largest housing development. Over $100 billion is spent in new housing for low-income people. Here we can see that by 2030, the rural population will be less than the urban one.
Well, for the main risk for Consorcia Ara, especially, is the vulnerability to interest rates and the exchange rate. That means because Consorcia Ara have most of their operation here in Mexico, so when the exchange rates have a little shift, they can affect the operational state, the margins, and especially the income for the residential and level housing. The second main risk we focus on was the international economic performance. That's because Mexico is one of the largest economies in Latin America, and which in Consorcia is operating right now. The whole performance of Consorcia Ara depends exactly on the performance of the main economy from Mexico. And the third risk we got as the exchange rate, as we talked about in the first rate. And the fourth one is the political events. That's meaning because right now Mexico is having a transition in the political governance, and they have, with the actual government, they have a lot of subsidies, and the future operation of Consorcia Ara depends a lot on that subsidy that have Ara with the actual government.
And the growth opportunities, we thought that Consorcia Ara must do smart houses because it's a market that is growing. Here in 2016, there were 73 houses in Mexico, and it's forecasted that by 2022, the number grows to 961. So if Consorcia Ara do this, then they can grow in the market.
Fine, we have the financial ratios. We can see that in ROE, return on equity, Consorcia Ara is better than the industry. So we can see that they have a good use of their equity. In return of assets, is the same, is better than the industry and the competitors. So it's a good use of assets. Debt to equity, we can see that is the best because they have a good use of the long-term and short-term debt. The current ratio is a problem because they have an excess in their inventories, and due to the quick ratio that is 1.76. So it means that 5 pesos is inventories.
Another evaluation that we made is the Monte Carlo simulation to stress the price. We made in 1 day simulation, 1 year simulation, and we can conclude that the price is still in the price that is today. So the price won't move like a lot of to high or low price. And another simulation that we made is the VAR, the value at risk, and we can see that the maximum loss that we can take in 1 day is only 0.19, and the maximum loss that we can take to 1 year is 3.16 pesos.
And well, as our main model to forecast the target price, we use the free cash flow to the firm, which basically means that is the cash flow that are free to the equity, to the debt holders, and to pay the debt they have actually Consorcia Ara. As you can see here, we use the net income, the cash flows from operations, the capex, the capital expenditure, the interest rate and the tax rate, and we use all of that to calculate the free cash flow to the firm, and we discount it at the WACC, which we use a WACC of 9.32%, and with that we got the value of the firm, which is this one, and with that value of the firm we calculate the value per share, which is basically a little bit higher than the actual price at November 13, which is 5.54 per share, and that's the free cash flow to the firm. And for the free cash flow to the equity, of course, it's a little lower than the free cash flow to the firm, because this is free cash flow that are only to the equity and to the stockholders. So this means that these kind of cash flows are basically just for them, and as we have seen in the whole presentation, Consorcia Ara doesn't care a lot more for the minority shareholders, which is why the value is a little bit lower than the total value of the cash flows for the firm, which basically to the equity is 4.99%.
We're going to talk about the financial analysis. So first, we made a forecast for the income statement of Consorcia Ara. So for the sales and the cost of free goods, we use the GDP and the inflation. So that is the effect of that forecast. In the expenses and other revenues, we use the growth between years in terms of sales. And in taxes, we use a Mexican tax that is in Bloomberg. So here is the forecast of the income statement. Then we forecast the balance sheet. So in the clients and receivables, we use a change in their sales. In the inventories, we use a change in the COGS, and in other assets of short term, we use the change in sales. In long-term assets, we use a change in capex that is in Bloomberg is a forecast of capex. Then in the liabilities, in accounts, we use a change that is in an interest rate of banks. Then that is for the long-term and short-term debt. In shareholders' equity, we use we read the annual report of Consorcia Ara that says of 5% of the income is the change that will be in the shareholders. That's all of the forecast. Then we have the free cash flow, and the result is a change in banks in cash. So we can see that they buy long-term assets. So this is the result of the cash flows.
And after all this, we conclude that Consorcia Ara share is a hold, since there's a lot of uncertainty in the market, and that's it. Thank you.